I'm André Mack, aka Mouton Noir, aka the Black Sheep. As a sommelier at some of America's finest restaurants, I've selected and poured the world's most elite and expensive wines. But that's not what we're doing here today. I also like a bottle of cheap wine, and there's no one better than picking them out than me. And that's what we're gonna be doing today. I have 20 wines behind me, all $15 and less. You absolutely do not have to know a lot about wine to enjoy it. Yeah, you know, for me, I think wine tasting notes are bullshit. It doesn't matter. It's what I taste and what I smell, and it's all subjective, right? At the end of the day, you're an expert in your own taste. I'm just an expert in wine. So the first group of the 20 wines that we have are from Italy. So we've broken it down by country. And to me, Italy is always kind of, I always think of like old spaghetti westerns, right? Slightly dusty, rustic. And that's kind of what I think about when I think about Italian wine. So we have the Villa Maduro. So this is a little Montepulciano di Abruzzo, 2018. Looking at the back label, you can see the vintage, you can see the region, you can see where it's bottled, and you can also see the importer, which is something I'll talk about later. One good way to shop is by shopping by importer. The other thing, the Montepulciano, that tells me the area that it's from. Generally, I just stick my nose in the glass. I just want to smell first, checking for the same odors. If it's off, if it's bad, if it smells like my grandmother's basement, you don't want those kind of qualities in a wine. Plum, blackberry, a little bit of leather. This is pretty tannic, Let's say tannin. Tannin really dries out the sides of your cheek. So think about more like black tea, but this is pretty high tannin. It's got some really great acid. I'm starting to salivate. Tannin is a very positive thing in a wine. It just depends, too. Like tannin gives the wine structure. So if I was gonna pair this wine with beef stew or something that was rich in that way, or steak, you need tannin to help break down the protein. So this wine, even though it's under $15, I feel like it has longevity. This would be a big thumbs up emoji. I think just maybe a double one. What I taste in a wine is not necessarily what you would taste in the wine. And so I decided that maybe using emojis would be the best way to be able to communicate what I really think about this wine. This is a little Toscana. This is the Donna Laura Ali, and this is from Tuscany. Generally, when you have anything labeled from Toscana, Toscana is a region. The grape that's grown there, the indigenous grape, is called Sangiovese. Generally, when it's labeled just Toscana, it's a blend of Sangiovese and what they call some of the noble grapes from France, either Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot. If you're really into the noble grapes, Cabernet and Merlot, this is probably not a great place to start because this is going to be predominantly more Sangiovese, which is just going to add a little bit more vibrancy to it. Like it's the life of the party. It's electric, it's acid, and a little bit more of those tannins. First thing is always I want to put my nose in the glass as far as I can. I got a big nose, so I just want to fill up. And I want to exhale through my mouth, so I want to open up my olfactory senses. So 80% of taste is actually through smell, so you get a better sense of what you're smelling. Really great acidity. I'm already starting to salivate, so we already know that the wine is high in acid. I'm going to be talking a lot about acid. Acid's an amplifier. The reason why you put salt on food, lemon on seafood, is really to amplify the flavors. This wine over-delivers for the price. I would pay double the price for this wine. Emoji. Cowboy hat, electric bolt, and a strawberry. Next wine, Franco Serrera. This is Barbera d'Asti 2018. Barbera, located right in the heart of Piemonte, a great region for great wines, best known for the king of all wines, Barolo. But generally, if you ask what the local people drink on an everyday basis, it's this wine right here, Barbera. I'm swirling just to kind of aerate the wine, blow off any off odors or anything like that. Actually, if we're on it and we're talking about glassware, it's called stemware for a reason. It has a stem on it if you want to get technical. This is actually so your hands or anything don't warm or change the temperature of wine. This is fruity, juicy, ripe. There is a little bit of tannins, pretty decent acid, not high off the charts of what I would normally like, but that's due to the grape. Barbera is not a real high acid grape. This is quintessential Barbera d'Asti. Anybody and everybody should enjoy this wine. This should be your go-to wine. This is your Tuesday night wine, pizza, hot dog. This is just great living, fun kind of wine. What's the smiley face with the stars in it? Yeah. So next up, we got a couple of wines from Australia. The illustrious and elusive Yellowtail. I'd have to say that I haven't had this wine in, say, when did I turn 40? About 35 years. Yellowtail. So already when I'm looking at the color, it looks a little too bright, a little too polished. I always look at the color of wine. First and foremost, I wanted to see if it's free and clear of any debris. You don't want to make sure there's no sea monkeys or anything floating around. But this is pretty clear. You can see through it. There is a little bit of anise, some blackberry, boysenberry. It smells like bubblegum, like Big League Chew. It has like this sweetness, this roundness that doesn't feel natural. Even the color doesn't look natural. Probably has, color added to it, Mega Purple 13 and stuff like that. Which you're allowed to add to wine. Yellowtail was the largest producer of Australian wine that was exported. I would also say that it was probably one of the big reasons why wine became, America's beverage of choice, surpassing beer. And I have to tell you that a big reason for that was stuff like Yellowtail. But I don't know, this is... All right, next we have from Australia. This is called Port Ormond, and this is Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet, generally speaking, as a grape as a whole, is one of the noble grapes from France. It is a thick-skinned grape. It is the son or the offspring of Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Franc. Produces big style wines, burly wines, broad shoulders, rich style wines, especially when they come from warm places, which Australia is. Stelve enclosure, as this is called, affectionately known as just a screw cap, was associated with wine for a very long time. But for me, and it's changed, right? Screw caps are, like I said, there's really about just getting the party started, right? Like, you don't need one of these. You don't need one of these. You could just do this, and we're ready to go. And in wine speak, that's called it. The wine is accessibility. And we're gonna find out. Oh man, this is like boysenberry. I smell a little bit of lead. Pencil shavings, raspberry, currant is another one. Wow, man, that is a big fruit bomb. This is a barbecue wine, big ribs from Morgan's, some coleslaw. This is really rich and layered. This is an awesome wine for $15. This would be the smiley face with the sunglasses. Yeah. Next up, we have a few wines from Spain, some Tempranillo. All right, so we have Orcavio. This is a Tempranillo. This is probably the most well-known grape in all of Spain, Tempranillo. It's more like Barbera. It's juicy, it's fun, it's an everyday drinking wine, but a little bit different in its profile, but it fills the same void, but from Spain. So I'm looking at the color here. It's a little bit darker. The wine does have some age on it. As a wine starts to age, color starts to fall from it. So it has a little bit more brickish color. It's not as bright. That would just tell me that it's a little bit older. And I think the first thing off the back I get is like this rich kind of leather, like brand new leather, like sitting in a big leather sofa.
For someone who doesn't want to drink the leathers, why is that? Why are you attracted to that?
It's funny, the grape juice, the wine actually ages in oak barrels. In red wine, it's expressed in several different ways. And it could be vanilla, it could be leather that lots of people talk about. Those all things come from oak and being aged in oak. They don't have a leather sofa, do they?
I don't know.
Who knows what they have?
There is an emoji of a sofa.
There you go, sofa. Cozy. Next wine here, also from Spain, Tempranillo. This is called Altos Do Olivia. 2018. First off, this wine is flawed already. It has volatile acidity. So you smell it, it's really rancid. It smells like fingernail polish remover. So I wouldn't drink this. All right, so we're gonna try this again. Yep. So this is awesome. I wish you guys could smell. We had smell-o-vision. You could smell the two glasses. This is much better. This actually smells a little bit reduced, like stewed plums, raspberry, boysenberries. Obviously the exact same bottle from the same producer, but what's inside, like I said, one is flawed and one is not. And it just brings me back to the important part, when you're in a restaurant, and it's not all for show, when they pour you a little sip of the glass and you taste it and all those things. It's really to taste it, to see if the wine is of sound quality. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this brand. It's just this particular wine that's inside this bottle, and it happens. All right, last up in Spain is the famous region of Rioja. It's 2015. This is Campo Viejo. Rioja, one of the most famous region in all of Spain, with its most famous grape, Tempranillo. You can already see the color. It's a little not as bright, it's almost a little brickish. Like I said, that does tell you that it does have some bottle maturity to it. Not getting much off the nose. It seems pretty muted. That does happen sometime. I have a little trick for that. So you put your hand on top of the glass like that, and then kind of swirl. And then you want to just kind of bring it closer to your face. All right, now I'm getting a little something. I'm just basically trapping the vapors, trying to get a little lift. Even though I find this wine to be somewhat one-dimensional, it's pretty well balanced. I feel like this is a pretty remarkable wine. Like to be honest, I've never had this wine before. I think I've heard of the brand every now and then, but like this, I'm pretty surprised by this wine. This is pretty solid. And I would also say that this wine probably tastes like it could be $20 to $25. Emoji, is there a justice holding a balance? I think so, right? So next up, we're back in the good old United States of America. This is Beringer. This is a little bit, they're calling it Main and Vine, and this is their Cabernet Sauvignon. First thing that's jumping out, it says American Cabernet Sauvignon, which would lend me to believe that there might be a little bit of funny business going on. The fact that it is so vague, this wine can actually be sourced from anywhere in America. The more specific you get on a label, the better quality it is. So if they're saying it's from California, that's great. But now if they're saying it's from Napa Valley, that's even better. Now if it's saying it's from Oakville, which is inside of Napa Valley, that's another thing. And then if they're talking about a specific vineyard within that particular subregion, so the more details you get, the better quality you get. There's no vintage on the wine. That's another thing to look for. So this means that this wine can be blended, from many different vintages. It's not a good thing at this price point when wines don't have vintages. So this wine is pretty flabby. That's a wine term. When I say flabby, it just means that the wine has no acid, has no lift. Kind of sits on the middle palate. Has this round, rich, kind of sweet thing going on in the middle that I don't really associate with Cabernet. So we have another California Cabernet. This is 2018. This is called Backstory. So I'm looking at the label. It says Cabernet Sauvignon. So we know at least that it has 75% of that grape in it by California law. And it does say California, whereas the other bottle just said America. All right, so this has a darker color than before. Yeah, I smell a little blackcurrant, a little bit of licorice, a little bit of anise. There is some vanilla. Smells artificial. Doesn't feel like it's what, it's the abundance of it, so it doesn't feel like it comes naturally from oak. So maybe it's added. It's green, it's vegetal, all qualities that I wouldn't associate with California Cabernet. This is a hard pass. Another California Cabernet. This is actually from Paso Robles. This is called Chop Shop. This is 2018. If you see any wines from Santa Barbara, from Paso Robles, I would generally start there. They have lower cost of entry just because the land is a lot cheaper. Look at the color. The color is dark, richer, just has more hue to it. It's starting to get those signs of currant, raspberry, graphite. Now this wine has some vanilla as well, but it's not in the same, it doesn't seem artificial as some of the previous wines that we had. This smells amazing. This is a pretty well balanced wine, but at that price point, I'm just wishing that there would be a little bit more giving. Seems a little shut down. Let's do a meat cleaver. I don't know, do they even have a meat cleaver? All right, next up is Joseph Carr, Josh Scheller's Cabernet Sauvignon. This is the Craftman's collection. This is vintage 2018. Already, I'm just looking at the color, man. Just too ruby, too dark. It looks like it should be port, but it's not. It's this ripe bubblegum. This is the same stuff. It has like this thing to it. Just I can't get past it. All right, so we have a little bit of Merlot here from the Francis Ford Coppola Diamond Collection. This is 2017 Merlot. I know there was a lot of talk about not liking Merlot. I like Merlot. This color looks great. Oh, wow. It smells pretty good. It's too sweet. I mean, you could pour this over ice cream. This is from California, so it's warm there, so it's gonna be ripe. So it's gonna have like this ripe fruit, which a lot of people perceive as residual sugar, but this is just outright sweet. The Merlots you want to drink are probably from Right Bank Bordeaux, and they actually don't say Merlot on the label. Is there a catfish emoji? Can we put a catfish? Can we have somebody make a catfish and put it somewhere around there? Last but not least, in California, we have 19 Crimes. This is called Cali Red. I don't know, it has Snoop Dogg on it. Look at that, you see that? La da 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 da. It's got a meshes on the cork. Oh, look at that. It's got Snoop on there. See that? It's interesting. If you look at the bottle, it's like this matte black kind of finish. This is generally what you find, what they would probably call frosted. And generally you would think that it's frosted or coated to help protect it, right, for longevity against the sun. I don't know if anybody's aging 19 Crimes, but we'll see. 19 Crimes. Let's hope this is not the 20th. Aha! Get a load of this, It's a little bit of sulfur. This is like a hair salon action going on here. It's got pretty decent color. It does vacillate into this kind of weird kind of like purple color that doesn't really exist in grapes. Cupcakes. Let's put some cupcakes on it. So next up is Argentina and the world famous Malbec. We have the Adelante. This is from Mendoza. That's a good place. So Mendoza is a good place for Malbec. So I'm excited to try this. All right, well, it definitely has that color when I think about Malbec, very dark, ruby purple kind of color. It doesn't have that hue that makes me think that it's, you know, got some chemical in it or something, or a mega purple 13. Oh, wow, this smells raspberry, tobacco, smoke, pretty earthy. This wine kind of catches me off guard. I was expecting something to be a little bit more rustic. This is pretty refined. I think a lot of Cabernet drinkers kind of migrate over to Malbec just because it doesn't have as long a finish. So it's better with food in some ways. If you take a sip of wine, swallow, and now you just kind of want to mentally count how long do you still have the taste in your mouth. This is a pretty long finish. I'm still tasting the wine now, but it's not like Cabernet, which would last probably into the next sip, depending on how fast you're drinking. But that is a sign of quality. But also in Malbec, you're looking for, you know, wine that's full with tannins, right? So we talk about the drying out of the inside of the mouth. Generally moderate alcohol, raspberry, blackberries, licorice, and it definitely is gonna have a little bit of earthy component to it. I'm kind of speechless. This wine is great. Let's do mushroom emoji for earthiness, cigarette smoke for smoke. There's some tobacco in the wine, and let's do it what do they call that? A flexing muscle emoji. All right, so next up, Colony Las Libres. Right, I think I got that right. And this is 2019. Look at that color. It's really dark, looks rich, kind of almost looks thick when I was pouring it. There's a little bit of sulfur. I get like some vegetation, like cherry tomatoes, graphite, raspberry, blackberries, kind of like a fruit cocktail of sorts of berries. This is a blueberry pie. The fact that this wine is $9 is really surprising. I'm kind of taken back. I'm just like stupefied. Like, what do you mean this wine is $9? This wine is amazing for $9, for $15, for $20. This is a hidden gem. Emojis, starstruck. I mean, is that one? I don't know what the... All right, so now we're on to France. So this is one of my favorite regions. This is from the Côte d'Rhône. This is Rhône wines. Think Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. And this is kind of like the standard bearer. And this is 2019 La Garrigue. Great color. This is 2019. This is pretty fresh. First thing right off the nose, I smell pepper, ground pepper, a little bit of white pepper. Almost wanted to make me sneeze. That's the first thing that I get. Strawberry jam, Smuckers. There's a little bit of rosemary. There's some herbs in there. It's slightly sweet to me. I guess my perception would be it's ripe. It's pretty ripe fruit. This is classic Côte d'Rhône. This is a beautiful expression and a great place to start for anybody wanting to venture out and taste wines from the Rhône Valley. Let's say strawberries, herb, a big thumbs up. Now a little bit of Beaujolais. This is Domaine de la Mondone, and this is Beaujolais Village, 2019. So this says 2019 here on the front label, but when I look at the cork on the back, it says 2017. Interesting. In all honesty, the labels are regulated, the corks aren't regulated, so the corks can have anything on them, so to speak. Well, it has the right color when I think about Gamay. Oh, so a little bit of cherry blossoms. You know, I get this funny thing with Beaujolais. It's like I actually smell bananas, right? It's like this thing of like fresh banana being peeled. Man, that is a perfect wine. That is amazing. Good job, BA, on the temperature. The temperature is spot on. I mean, this gets double thumbs up. You know, this could easily sell for 30 or 40. All right, looks like we're headed back to the Côte d'Rhône. So the Rhône, this is 2019. This is Buehler. See, the color's a little bit darker for sure. Oh, that's a heavy bottle. Doesn't matter. It's not a sign of price or quality. This is a little bit of dill. Definitely smell some leather there. That kind of reminds me of like my dad gave me his old baseball glove. All my friends made fun of me. It was just like this old wrinkly glove. Oh wow, wild strawberries. There's a little bit of eucalyptus, mint. It's got really great long finish. I'm still tasting it now. So some acidity, right? My mouth is starting to water. I like this one actually better than I like the last one, and I was really surprised by the other one. This is, like I said, a little bit fuller and modern take on it, but I like it. So my advice to all of you is make sure you go to your wine shop, your local shop, and ask for wines from the Côte d'Rhône. Emoji, maybe a baseball and a glove, so a little catcher's mitt. I remember that reminds me of leather, a little bit of graphite, so pencil, and the fire emoji. This wine's straight fire. All right, so we are down to our last bottle. It's called Zoe. It's the Tree of Life. And this is from Greece. So 2019. It's an indigenous grape from Greek, and it's about 10% Cabernet. All right. Slightly earthy, mushroomy, herbaceous, rosemary, sage, this kind of cherry cola. Not a lot of fruit. It definitely feels like it's a wine that could be served chilled, but very pleasing on the palate. You know, I would totally drink this one. Emoji, let's go with the herb. Is there a surprise look emoji? And a big okay. My biggest takeaways for you is drink outside the box, right? Look for off the beaten path grapes, because I do believe that they over deliver on quality, right? Because the demand is not high. Shopping by label, it's a landmine. Like, you're better off building some type of relationship with your local wine shop where you can build trust. I know that all of our tastes are different, but for me, when I think about a sound and quality wine, it was always about balance. I really would encourage people to embrace that philosophy when drinking wine. All right, so that's it. That's a wrap. Let's all go home and drink more wine. I don't drink $15 wine. No, I'm just with you. No, that is not true.